Your life gets better when you say it does. And it's purely a choice. Everything in this reality is literally your choice. And I'll explain to you how and why and when and what in this video. My name is Harjot Singh and I am a coach. I help traders and investors with mindset and identity work. Because to be honest with you, everybody has the strategies, everybody has, the knowledge. You have the knowledge, you have the strategy. The issue is mindset, and that's what holds everyone back, including myself, because we're human beings. We have so many limitations and so much just baggage that we hold in our heads, and that is what causes us to not achieve the highest potential that we have. And so that is the problem that we have to solve for. And so your life gets better when you say it does. And it's really a conscious choice. Sometimes easier said than done. And that is because of the baggages, of all the different limitations, of all the external things that are told to us, taught to us, programmed into us. And we believe it. And to the extent that you believe the limitation is the extent that you will be within that limitation. So if you cannot see through that, then you will forever be stuck. You will never be able to change. You will never be able to be happy or get the thing you want. And that's purely because you're stuck in the limitation. It's like being a fish who needs to stay in the sea to survive, in the water to survive. The moment you take the fish out of the sea, of the water, it no longer can survive. It's going to die. And so these limitations that you have, that we all have, these blocks, these subconscious, fears, worries, doubts, they are basically causing us to be like fish who need to stay in the sea being all the baggage and the mental turmoil and the I can never do that, I can never achieve that, that's impossible for me, oh, this is so difficult, oh man, I've never been able to do it, XYZ, whatever it is. And that's the sea. And you're the fish who's stuck in it. But you don't realize that you're not a fish. You are the human being that can actually get back on land and actually walk on land and thrive on land. But you don't see that because you're so in your bubble and you're so lost and you've been living that way for so long. And the longer you do it, the harder it gets to break out of it. That's the biggest problem. It gets really hard to break out of it. And so it is all in your own hands. And how do you actually break out of these limitations? It starts with a self-awareness. You must become self-aware. You cannot just run around and listen to somebody else who tells you, oh, this is the truth. This must be it. You must become self-aware such that you can decipher the truth for yourself. Because you see, reality is subjective. It is not an objective thing like, oh, everything is true because it's physically there. No, it's all subjective. Reality is absolutely subjective to each one of us. The way I see reality is through my own lens. Like imagine I was wearing a pair of glasses. And the way I see things is purely based off of my own experience, my own knowledge, my own wisdom, my own strategy and my own baggages and my own childhood traumas and my own so many things. The wiring of my brain, the way I am just set up, the way I think. And we are all so unique. If we were all the same, we would all have the same life. But we are not. And that is why there are some people who are extremely successful and there are others that are not. And you might say, oh, what is success? That needs a definition too. In me producing this video and uploading this onto YouTube, you might think I am successful because I am able to do this. Because in fact, a lot of people are not able to do this. This is public speaking. This is, speaking and speaking and speaking for so long, and there's no edits in this video. So to you, if you can't do what I do right now, you might think I am successful because I'm doing something you can't. And that's one of the places where the problem lies. The problem is we compare success relative to society, relative to somebody else. And that's never success. It cannot be. Because if you are, let's say, successful compared to your neighbor, let's say you became something that they could not become, so you're successful compared to them, that's cool. But how finite is that? How limited is that? Because that's not maybe your success. Like right now I'm making this video, and to me this is easy. I can do this. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Take the camera, start speaking, start yapping into it, start speaking my mind and thoughts that come to me completely effortlessly. People tell me I'm charismatic. People tell me I'm captivating. People tell me I am an enigma. I can speak so well, and I can, hold a crowd, and I can captivate an audience. I can speak so elegantly, so precisely. So to me, speaking into this camera and you listening to me, I am not seeing myself as much of a success, even though I am to you. Maybe, right? And that's the whole relative nature. What is success? And to me, that needs to become my own highest success. It's basically saying, I'm not comparing myself to you, I'm comparing myself to me. What is my potential? If I was a tree, and so let's say maybe I'm an acorn, and so I am a seed. I'm not a tree yet, but I'm a seed. I'm not going to look at other acorns and say, oh, they've grown bigger than me. They've grown taller than me. Oh, they have one extra leaf than I do. They have 2 branches and I don't have those 2 branches. My branch is so twisted and ugly, but that tree's branch is so clean and nice and elegant. I got all these scratches on me, but they've got such a clean trunk, for example. That would be a complete disaster as an acorn. And by the way, acorns don't do this, right? They don't. Because what's the point? The point of the acorn tree is to really figure out and find out and reach its own maximum potential, whatever that might be. It might be a lot less than somebody else, but that is its optimal potential, maximum potential. And to achieve that is its success. And so that becomes really the fundamental nature of subjective reality, which we all are living in our own subjective, delusional bubbles, our own perspectives with our own pair of lenses and glasses that we see reality through. The rich man's gonna see and he's gonna think, oh, I've got so much money that my money keeps growing on its own, and there's so much an abundance of wealth and abundance of money, and there's never any lack. I can go and eat in any restaurant. I don't have to look at the menu. I can eat whatever I want. I have no fears whatsoever. While the poor man with his lens might look at his life and say, oh, I can never get rich. I'm stuck at this job. I can never make more than this. I have to budget and I have to find discount coupons and all this stuff. And if we changed glasses of these 2 people, one person exchanging their lens with the other, then the rich man will become poor and the poor man will become rich. Purely because the way they start living, the way they subjectively live through life is going to change because they are seeing it suddenly different. And so it's not your external environment that creates the results. It's your internal and how you see through, how you subjugate your reality, how you look through into your reality, and how you make it personal to your experience, to what you want, what your happiness is, what your highest potential is, and align that with that. And when you do that, then anything is possible. Then it's basically you are that acorn seed, and you can grow as big as you want. How big do you want to grow? How much water do you need? How much sunlight do you need? What's your goal? What do you want? And so coming back to the topic of, you can have whatever you want when you decide to have it, is basically saying, put on the lens. Put on the lens that you want. And if you don't know how to think like a rich man, if, for example, you want to be richer, then find rich people that you truly can look up to or admire and ask them, how do you think? What do you think? How do you feel? What do you feel? Why do you think the way you think? Why do you feel the way you feel? Because whatever that is, that's creating their result, because that's the lens, the glasses that they're wearing. And through that, they just live their life in a way such that money is not an issue to them. Money is something that is abundant, for example. Same goes with health, wealth, relationships, whatever it is, whatever you want. It goes the same way. It's just that you are a fish in the sea who doesn't realize that you can survive when you come out of the sea. Because in truth, you are not a fish. But you've just been so long living in your fish reality that you just think you're the fish. And the longer you stay in that, the harder and harder it becomes to break out of it, because the deeper and deeper it gets ingrained in you. Think of it like this, like let's say in the old days, when there was mud roads and no concrete straight roads, it was mud roads. So I used to be, when I was younger, I lived in India in a village. And so let's say we had tractors and, there's a mud road. And, when you would go into the farm and take the tractor, you would go on that mud road. And then on the mud, it would create this pathway, when the mud is still wet. It would create the pathway of the tractor's tires. And when you do that every day, you're going to the farm, you're coming back from the farm, going to the farm, coming back from the farm, and you do that every day. And then with time, that mud road kind of solidifies. It becomes solid, it hardens, it's no longer wet, it's no longer very liquid. And so now it solidifies, and it solidifies in the way that the mud road was using the tractor tires, right? When it was wet, the tractor could kind of go easily in any way and kind of pave its path. That's the malleability of the brain, of your psyche, of your beliefs. But as it gets harder and harder and the mud road gets harder and harder, you can, in a way, as a tractor driver, autopilot. I could just close my eyes, just hit the gas, and the tractor would just follow the path, because the path has already been paved. It's already made. And so there's no thinking involved. There's obviously not going to be any steering around anymore, because the path has been paved. And so it's just going to follow that road. I could just close my eyes, hit the gas, and I would be in the farm. Just like that, because I've just been using that same way every day. And that's literally 99.99% of society. Wake up, use your phone, Instagram scrolling, and then go to work, and then come back home, and then watch Netflix, and then rinse and repeat. That's what it is. And the longer you do that, at first it's malleable, at first it's like you can choose your path. But the longer you do that, now it just becomes autopilot. You just close your eyes, you're zombie mode through life. And before you know it, your old age, you're about to die, and you look back at life and you say, I wonder if I could have had a better experience with my life. I wonder if I could have made better choices. I wonder if I could have realized my optimal potential. But now it's too late. I'm old, I'm weak, I'm frail, and I'm gonna die. I never really amounted to much in my life. Not for the sake of others, but for myself. What could I have become if I really gave it a shot? What would have been my optimal potential, my highest potential, if I really had given it a shot, if I wasn't afraid, if I didn't get stuck in my fish ways, and if I didn't believe that the sea of limiting beliefs is where I have to live. Because if I break out of that, what's going to happen? I don't know. It's so uncertain. It's so scary. What if I just took that leap? What if I just tried? What if I didn't let my fear hold me back? What if I actually became self-aware enough in time to reflect and look at myself and the lens and the glasses that I'm wearing, such that I could see, oh, I have this limiting belief that's stopping me. But at the same time, I have this other desire that I really want to realize in my life. I really want to experience that thing. I want to go to the Maldives. I want to, travel around Europe. I want to do all this stuff that I was unable to do because, oh man, I was so scared, and I spent my whole life just working a job that I frankly don't even like so much. It paid the bills, and I was afraid that if my bills aren't paid, then I'll be dead. I'll die. I won't survive. What will I do? What will society think of me? What will people say? I will have no face. I will have so much shame. I will feel so embarrassed. See, these are all your limitations. And the moment you decide and you become aware that, these are my limitations, and it's my responsibility, it's my problem to overcome them, to shift them, to change them, and to start aligning with myself with the highest version that I can become, not comparing myself to somebody else right around me, but to myself, to the highest version I can become. Where am I now in life versus where I think I can be? My potential, my personal potential. Not compared to anybody else, but compared to myself. Where can I be? And that's a question you really have to look into, and it starts with self-awareness. And if you're already on this journey and on this path, but you're realizing that, it's hard, you're unable to change, you're still kind of stuck in your life, you're still seeing similar results that you don't really want to see, but you want something better, and you've been trying and trying and trying. I know I certainly felt that way, and sometimes do feel that way. What do? You really have to start looking at yourself and taking accountability. There are fears inside you still that, even despite all the work you've done, maybe you've done 99% of the work, but that 1%, that's the hardest battle. And if you can just push through, pull through, work your way through that and still stay aligned and really say, what is it here? What am I missing here? What's that one final piece that really needs to be fixed? Then everything changes in an instant, because that is how life works. The moment I give you my glasses and you wear those glasses and see through that lens, your life has already changed. Purely because your subjective reality has now changed. The way you see reality has now changed. If my lens is yellow in color and yours is orange in color, and you've been seeing your life for this whole time you've been alive through orange color lens, your reality is orange. That's the one you're used to. But the moment I give you mine and you wear them, even for a second, you can never unsee that. You will see, yellow reality. No longer orange, it's yellow. And so then, that really changes everything. That creates the life you truly want, because now you're looking at life through a lens that has the life you truly want. All right, so the moment you decide to change your lens is the moment your life will change. It's really as simple as that, but sometimes it's not as easy as that, because it requires a consistent practice, just like that tractor on that mud road. When you start this journey, it's a restart. It's a restart, and then it doesn't immediately solidify. The mud road needs time. It needs to solidify into a new version. And so for that, you have to remain consistent. You have to keep repeating the good habits, the good thoughts, the good thought structures that actually align with your highest self and not the limitations. And then before you know it, one day you'll wake up and you'll look around and you'll see, whoa, I have achieved my highest potential. And now that will become your new road, that you could just close your eyes and autopilot your life, and yet you will be at your maximum potential, because that's the new reality, the subjectiveness, the perspective that you have now created, molded, and calibrated into, such that that is just the new you. It is what it is. You don't even have to try anymore. It's just that simple. It's just that easy. It was like one of the interview I was watching, it was Elon Musk being interviewed, and he was asked, if you were to go broke again, or if you had $1,000 again, what would you do and how would you like get out of that? And his response was just epic. He said, basically in a nutshell, he said, it's impossible. He said, it's impossible for me to go broke. It's impossible for me to go back to no money anymore. Like, it's just impossible. And that's what will happen with you. When you realign yourself and calibrate yourself into that new reality, it will just become impossible to go back. And maybe that's the fear holding you back. What if I achieve the success, and then what if I fail? Well, it will become impossible, because your new identity will become so anchored in you. Again, you will become like the fish in the sea, such that this time you are your best. You will have no regrets at the end of your life. You will have no problems. You will have lived a very fruitful life, knowing that you lived the absolute best that you could. You achieved the maximum potential that you could. All right, I love you so much. Thank you for tuning in and listening to, maybe this is called a podcast, this podcast while I just took a stroll in the park. I am a coach. Just to niche things down, I've niched it down to traders and investors. But if you're an entrepreneur, if you're somebody, just working a 9-to-5 maybe, or somebody that just wants change, but then you realize it's your subconscious mind, it's your identity, it's your level of performance as a human being that's stopping you back, not a lack of knowledge or structure or systems or strategy, but really just a mindset, then I really encourage you to message me on Instagram, link in the description. Let's just chat, or even book a one-on-one call with me directly, and let's see if we're fit to work together and how I can help you out achieve the goals that you have. It's really that simple. And normally, frankly, just by listening to you, within a minute or two, I can really tell what the issue is. Just because I've been doing this kind of work on myself and people around me for such a long time, I can just see through. The words you speak tell me a lot about where you currently are in terms of your mindset, in terms of the lens you're wearing. And then once I really know what you actually want, then it becomes a pretty simple process of, okay, this is the exact problem you have. This is what we have to overcome. Let's attack that one baby step at a time. And then let's start building that mud road such that the new autopilot becomes the highest version of you. And then life becomes absolutely very, very sweet. All right, I love you so much. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next video. Bye.